Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Bleeding Crypto's Market Update. Today is Friday, August 30th, 1:42 p.m. local time. I hope you're having a good day, morning, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. I am coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. I am sitting, unfortunately, outside. It's very noisy. I cannot find a place with good enough reception to do this quietly, so I apologize for the background noise, and I will try to do my best to get this done overly as quickly as possible. Let me start off by giving my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. I am wrong 99.9% of the time, so if you follow me and you use real money, you have a 99.9% chance of losing it all. This is just for game theory, for entertainment purposes only. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and let's start where we left off yesterday. So we're looking at yesterday at the daily time frame, and we're looking at the confirmation of the back test of this medium channel here. So we had our drop, we had our back test of this bear break, and we confirmed it, and we continue to drop. However, we are continuing to hold support at $57,611. So though we have been putting wicks that are lower lows, we haven't really put any candle bodies that are lower lows. We continue to look weak, but not really confirm too much. Earlier today, when I was looking at the smaller time frame and I looked over to the left, it looked like we had closed below the previous lower low, but on my phone, and I was in the car at the time as well, it did look like it's confirmed, and I even posted that we confirmed the move to the downside. However, I was incorrect. When I got to my computer and I look at the daily time frame and I look at these wicks, I understand. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me go to the hourly time frame, and you can see here. Here's a wick. Here's a wick. We didn't have a full. If this would have stayed a full candle body close below here, it would have been a weak, but nonetheless a confirmed lower low where we continue to pull up. So it's not a bullish look, but it's not as bearish as I. Sorry about that, guys. The bus is stopping right next to me. It's not as bearish as I thought. However, we're not looking very strong. And being that we are in a weekend, it's a really difficult position to be in as an analyst and try to figure out which direction we're going to go. Because on one hand, we have what I like to call a scam pump weekend. A scam pump weekend is we often see Asia likes to run the price of Bitcoin up before Monday morning. New York comes in at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, and then smack whatever Asia did over the weekend, and if not on Monday, then on Tuesday. So that's why I say that it's really difficult to measure if we're going to have one of those or not. Those are random, but they seem to play out more often than not. So I think that the best bet for now is we're going to have to remain patient and wait for any types of setups on the low time frame to maybe take day trades or scalp trades, but don't take any long-term stance or any swing trade stance on a weekend price action, because often it can lead to a quick reversal, and this applies for whether it moves up or it moves down. So say for instance, instead of moving up, we move down. Come Monday morning, New York may bring it right back up to where New York closed on Friday. So that's why you don't want to take any really long-term positions on the weekend time frame. Rather, you want to utilize the weekend time frame and utilize the TA that I've been, if you've been able to learn anything from the TA that I've been teaching you. Even though I don't teach you my full system, I don't teach you how to read all the indicators, you can still come up with, I believe, sorry about that. I believe with enough information that on the lower time frames, you can probably get some nice scalp trades for the weekend and just keep them as that, just as scalp trades. So let's take a look at right now at what I'm looking for. So as you can see here, yesterday we were looking for a lower high to either confirm and then get a lower low, or to break above the lower high rule and then invalidate that for a new higher high. We did neither or. What we did is that we fell short of that, and then we dropped here. So what I want to do now is I want to measure where this pivot took place. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to take the existing lower high rule, and I'm going to now turn that into a continuation rule just to see if it lines Yeah, it does. Okay, great. So I'm looking at this wick here, which is which was our high, swing high off of this bounce here, and then as you can see, we were able to respect the continuation fib, and then we did pivot, and we had a very drastic move to the downside. Now, what I want to do is I want to see if that move was backed up by a harmonic pattern. It doesn't have to be, but it gives me just a little bit more data that this move, this downward move, is complete for now. So what I want to do now is do this. I want to, here, that's our low point. We're going to clone this, and we're going to put it here, and then we're going to look at where we stop. So this is the end of the harmonic pattern, yet this is where we stop. To me, I would consider this closed. Whether it's a little bit below it, above it, or a little bit below it, I consider that within a margin of reason that this harmonic pattern was completed. So what did we do? We had a nice bounce off of that completion of the harmonic pattern, which is typical, and it would have happened both ways. If this would have been to the upside, when we complete the harmonic pattern, we tend to then drop. And on this case, because it was to the downside, we continue to have a nice little bounce to the upside. So the way I treat this is, now that we had this bounce, it's kind of like starting all over again, like we did yesterday. What we need to do is, because we invalidated this continuation fib, well, we invalidated it, better said, but we did climb back inside of it. So we can treat this as a deviation. However, I am not going to remove this from my chart yet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same exact thing I did before, and I'm going to consider this our low, our possible either lower high, or the starting of a higher high pattern. Let me put the Fibonacci on here, and it'll give you a better understanding. It may make a little bit more sense, but basically. So let me put this on here, and then I'll tell you what I'm expecting. Okay, so on this bounce, as you can see, we respected the continuation fib. So what I would want to see, if I'm a bull, I want to see the bulls bounce from here and give me a higher high. Now, in the same exact thing like I did to the downside, I'm going to take the low, the high, I'm going to clone this, and I'm going to assume that we're going to hold here. Obviously, I will adjust this harmonic pattern if we drop a little bit lower here, as long as we don't close a full candle body open and close below the 0.50. It'll still be valid. So for now, because the only data I have is this bounce off the 382, I'm going to use this to my harmonic pattern. And as you can see, if we complete this harmonic pattern, that puts us again right at the bottom of major resistance. This is the bottom of the horizontal channel line. And this is a line that, if we reclaim during the week, I will be more inclined to be bullish. However, if we regain that channel line on a weekend, I am not going to be that excited, for the reasons that I explained early in the video, that I'm going to consider that within the scan pump weekend parameters, so it's not something I'm going to trust. It doesn't mean it cannot turn into a bullish momentum for later on in the week, but I need to see those type of moves happen during the week, the regular week hours, not the weekend scan pump hours. So for right now, the only thing I'm looking for on the lower time frames is just, what do we do here? Are we going to honor this? Are we going to put a higher high, or are we going to continue to the downside? And if we continue to the downside, then obviously I'm going to be opening up my macro daily chart, and I'm going to be looking for this line to get broken. If this line gets broken, and we back test this on the smaller time frames, and we reject, then I'm going to know that for the scam pump weekend, instead of having a scam pump weekend, we're going to have a scam dump weekend. And either or, I do not trust. However, what you cannot take back is, if this were to come down and close our objectives, we no longer have to revisit this area here. Now, I've been telling you that I've been waiting for this to happen. It doesn't have to happen, but more often than not, we do close the objectives that I've been talking about that I haven't shared. I haven't shared some of these with you. Some I have, like the heat map for the liquidation data at the $50,000 marker, but there's other indicators down here for Bitcoin in this wick here that needs to be closed. So in this area here, if we're able to come down on the weekend and close these, even though it's during a scam pump weekend, I will consider them closed, which will now get me extremely bullish for a continuation. And it kind of lines up with the whole the scam dump weekend. And hear me out. New York closed here. Okay, New York just closed a couple of hours ago. So wherever New York closes their session, if we were to drop here on Asia, I'm going to expect that on New York opening for the New York session at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, that we're going to gravitate the price right back up into here. So this will close the objectives, get us back in here, and then I'll be looking for the top of this channel. The only thing that we have to remember is that we do have that seasonality chart that gives us a probability that we're going to have a dump for September. It doesn't mean it has to happen. However, I'm going to be more bullish, believe it or not, than bearish, even with the historical data, because we close these objectives. And of course, that's we're talking here hypothetically if we were to close it this weekend. If we don't, then what I said yesterday becomes the more probable scenario, that we end up coming down here we end up not losing this, getting up to the top here, and then closing for the month of September, which is what I don't want to see. So far, we haven't put a lower low, but we've confirmed one half of the bearish path. I guess that's the fair way of putting it, without getting too bearish or too bullish, that we've confirmed half, and the half is the perfect back test of the bear break of this area here. So if we could follow through on that, that is going to then determine to me whether I am going to look for lower targets or if I'm going to start looking for higher targets for that pivot. Unfortunately, where we're at right now tells us nothing. Look at this candle. Look at this candle. Look at this candle. They're literally the same. When you take away the wicks from either end and you look at just the candle bodies, this candle body here is a minus 0.66. This candle body is a positive 0.54. This one is a negative 0.569. 665469, literally the exact same thing. Up, down, up. So all we're doing here is just basically consolidating, guys. These wicks, the only way you should be looking at these wicks is for opportunity. These wicks is what gives me the opportunity to play the market in the intraday trading. This morning we took I think 2 or 3 trades, and they lasted minutes. One of them lasted 9 minutes. We made 8.3%. The other one was I don't have the data offhand, but just basically my point is that there is still opportunity in the market if you know what to look for and you understand the macro view. The macro view right now is sideways, leaning more bearish than bullish. But the lower time frames, there's a ton of volatility going on that you can definitely, if you know what you're doing, get in front of those trades. If you don't know what you're doing, that's why I offer the $25 a month service where I tell you where to buy and where to sell. So let's go ahead and now move over to the alt request. So to summarize what we're waiting for this weekend, we're either wanting to see if we put a higher high on these lower time frames or if we break down on this swing low here. That's all we have to do for today. Tomorrow's update, well, I don't know if I'm going to do an update tomorrow. It is Saturday. I don't normally do it on Saturdays and Sundays, but I will try to, if I have the time, to give you guys an update. We'll see what we did here. So I'm going to leave this harmonic pattern here on the computer so that we can have, on this chart better said, so that we can have a foundation of where to start our next discussion when we have it, whether it's tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday. We will then see what we did after I got off of this call. So for right now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open my Twitter, and I'm going to look at some of the requests that you guys sent me, and then I'll start looking for some. I'll start taking some requests. Let's see. Let's take a look at. Let me scroll up and get the first ones who requested. Get them first on here. Let's see here. We got quite a few requests. The first one I got here is FET. All right, so let's take a look at FET. I'm going to use. Let's see. I'm going to use my SPY chart, and we'll look at FET USDT. And let's take a look. Okay, so we have FET here on the daily time frame. Now, when it comes to FET, guys, what I don't know is because I am not an FA trader, and I don't know how this works with FET and Ocean and some other coin merging together. What happens to this particular coin in and itself? Does it go away? Does it merge with the new token, with the new merge? So this is going to be difficult because I don't know if that's going to happen. So I'm going to do the TA for you guys on FET on this chart, assuming that FET is going to continue on its own. That's really the only thing I can do for FET, because like I said, I don't know if it's going to merge into a new coin. So let's see exactly what this did. Let me look at the weekly time frame real quick. That reason I laugh, guys, during this run, I remember people saying, it'll never come back down, BC. It's going to continue to run. It's going to be $50. 50 bucks. Let's see what it's done. Let's see what it did. Here's our high. Here's our low of that move. And let's see if it respected the consolidation rule. We did break below it, so it invalidated this. So what I got to do now is I'm forced to use my full fib retracement. And what I'm going to be looking for now is, did the institution step in and buy 0.886? That is a level that the institutions like to step in and buy things that are worth holding. So let's see. I don't know. Extension. We got right there. We got pretty much at 886. Anything from the 50% and the 886, to me, it is they hit the 886. I always take that 50%. It doesn't have to hit on the exact dollar. It got close enough and this is where the market makers stepped in and defended this coin. Now we see here a really beautiful push to the upside. So what do we do when we have a bounce like this off these lows? These are lows. So, I mean, obviously it could have went lower, but this is where the market defended. So I can comfortably say that this is the low off of this drop. So now we have to treat it like any other bounce on any time frame. We have to look to see where the higher low is more likely going to be. So what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame. I'm going to look at this bounce. Here was the bounce, and we consolidated and then continued to go up here. So what we're going to do here is, here's the top of that bounce. And now I'm going to go to the bottom of that bounce, and I'm going to put on a continuation rule. Did we respect the continuation rule? That gives us the probability that we're going to see a bounce rather than a consolidation. And look at what we did here. Now, this is what I'm talking about, those deviations that I still count as part of the continuation rule. Why? Because this candle was able to reclaim the 50% line. If this candle had closed below the 50% line, then it would invalidate this, and then I would have to be forced to put on my consolidation rule of 618, 706, and 786. But in this case, we did bounce right off there, barely made it, but we made it. So now what I'm looking for is a completion of the harmonic pattern. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put the bottom here, the top, we're going to clone this, and we're going to put it at the bottom of this here. And this is then going to give us a more or less target of what to look for. And look at this. This lines up to, I'm not sure what this fib is, so I'm going to go to the higher time frame just so I can see what that fib is. That's the 0.50. So that's the Wyckoff check of basically the discount zone. So we went up. This will give it a 50% push back up from that retracement. Now what I want to do on top of that is I want to find confluence. I want to look to the left on the 50% line here, and do we have enough support and resistance to warrant a move up to that area where it's going to act as new resistance? Or is there a greater cluster below here that has more merit? Because what we want to do is that we don't want to overshoot. I would rather be playing more conservative, so I'd rather lower my target if need be, if I'm going to encounter an area of resistance that has more merit than this one here. So let's take a look here. Let's look back here. Here's where the price action is here. Okay. No, you know what? This is a very good area. We're gonna hit. I mean, we hit this. You see here? Look, we hit this resistance. Based on this resistance here, look how close we got to it. So I'm going to do this in yellow just to identify it's a little bit quicker. There we go. So you can see the support and the resistance and support on this yellow line, right? Look at where our bounce ended. So this has a lot of merit. So what this tells me is on the way up here, because we bounce from the continuation rule, we have a greater chance of coming up here than we do of rolling over from here. However, we have to understand that every single break, well, better said, every single bounce off a continuation rule to the upside creates a bear structure before it confirms a bull structure. So as the price action comes up here and starts climbing, guess what it can do? Let me show you. Hold on. Look. It can easily become a double top and roll over. So don't automatically assume because we bounce off the fib that we're going to go to here. The market has to validate that idea by closing above this prior swing high. If you can get that to happen, I'd be looking for this as a target. All right, so let's look at our next, you know what guys, it's getting really noisy out here and I don't even know if this audio is coming through or not. So I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna do Aave. And then I'm gonna call it a day. Okay. Let's see here. Just give me 1 second. I'm just scanning. Aave looks really good. Very bullish so far. Every time frame that I saw Aave was bullish. The hourly time frame, very bullish. We finally broke above and have a full candle, clean candle, open and close above the 200 EMA on the hourly time frame, which has been major resistance on this area here. And when we look at the CMF is climbing as well, and we have really nice strong RSI and nice MACD structure on the hourly time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, as you can see here, we had a nice little double bottom. Here's one, and here's two. There it is right there. I love double bottoms. Those are very bullish. And the CMF is climbing, and the CMF is now above the medium line. We also have a really nice pivot here on the MACD with positive volume oscillator. On the 12-hour time frame, we're holding the 50 EMA. That's the most bullish point that I see here on the 12-hour time frame is that we had a nice double bottom here on the 50 EMA, and we're above the 7 EMA, which is extremely bullish as well. So this tells me this has a good chance, if Bitcoin continues to climb and not decline, that we can make it to the top of this resistance area here at 143.65. So this would be a really nice trade for the weekend on Aave if Bitcoin cooperates. Regardless of the setup that any altcoin has, it will not go against Bitcoin drawdown. So keep that in mind. No altcoin, no shitcoin controls Bitcoin's movement. It's the other way around. Bitcoin will control the entire market in and itself. So make sure that you understand that, and as long as you understand that, then you know what to look for as your risk when you're trading an alt like this, especially on the weekend. Now you just have to wait for volume to come in. But hopefully, if we do get a scam pump weekend from Asia, we can see this move to the upside. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here because, like I said, it's very noisy out here. I'm talking a little loud, and hopefully it's not coming out too loud through the computer, and I don't know what kind of background noise you guys are getting on this video. It might be completely you may not be able to understand anything I say, so no point in continuing to go on. I will try to give you more updates during the weekend, but typically these are reserved for during the week. I am going to continue to actively trade over the weekend with my Telegram group if there's trade setups to be had. So if you want to participate in that, it's only $25 a month, and you can send me a DM, and I'll give you the link directly to my website. All right, guys, everyone have a really good day, and I'll talk to you guys later.